Everybody, welcome to the NBA version of the Waiver Wire podcast. I'm Dr. Marco Nunez with my co-host Landon Buford. Landon, how you doing today?
I'm well. Ready, obviously ready for this NBA season to start.
That's right.
For me personally, being in the building, it will start on Friday against the Brooklyn Nets and the Mavericks on Friday. So, but they do play tonight against the Spurs, which is going to be a televised game because it's the first game, regular season game for Wembanyama. So
True. Yeah, so that's
we don't know if Luka's playing, but we'll get into that.
Yep.
Here. So.
Yeah, definitely. Luka is definitely one of on our list. So what we're going to discuss is some of the NBA injuries. So if you do NBA fantasy, we're going to kind of help you, kind of guide you through some of the injuries, what they mean, what's a potential timeline. I know there's a lot of verbiage out there when they discuss questionable, doubtful, anything of that sort. So we're going to try to see if we can help you and guide you and give you a little additional information to decide if you're going to play the player, if he's going to be available, or you may have to go to the waiver wire or the free agency and kind of grab somebody. So we're going to talk about, we're going to kind of categorize a lot of people. We're going to talk about ankle sprains. Obviously, ankle sprains in the NBA is the number one injury by far than any other injury in the NBA due to the type of sport, the plyometrics, the jumping, landing mechanics, and constant move and change of direction. So we have several players with ankle sprains, and we're gonna kind of just bring up the names and kind of discuss the type of the ankle sprains or what that means. So one of the downsides issues is oftentimes they don't categorize whether an athlete has a first, second, or third degree ankle sprain. And that's kind of what helps us decide whether, hey, is this player going to be available in a week or so, or are they going to take a little bit longer? So now the only other area that they do categorize, so they change if it's an ankle sprain versus a high ankle sprain. Mm-hmm. Usually high ankle sprains, which we've discussed before, can take anywhere between 4 to 6 weeks to heal type of thing. So even though you have a player and the player they've categorized him with a high ankle sprain, and they say, hey, he's day-to-day, we're going to reassess him in 10 days. Don't expect this player to come back. Minimum, if everything goes right, he's positive, it's about 2 to 3 weeks type of thing. I think this kind of happened with LeBron James 2 years ago in the playoffs. He had the high ankle sprain. They're like, oh, he's day-to-day. And he'll be back in 2 to 3 weeks. And he was out actually for a total of 5 weeks, if not 6 weeks type of thing. So high ankle sprains are commonly, you'll be out for 4 to 6 weeks, especially in a sport like basketball type of thing. So we have a couple players. We're going to talk first about Draymond Green, which had the ankle sprain, I believe, already during preseason at the beginning of during training camp and at preseason. So he's expected to kind of return pretty quick. So he's already been out for about 3 to 4 weeks. So I expect him to return in the next week or so. But the other, and correct me if I miss any of these, we're going to talk about, I think Hardy has an ankle sprain also. Alvarado with the New Orleans Pelicans is also nursing an ankle sprain. They haven't categorized it. Who am I missing here?
I'm scrolling up and down right now. You said ankle, right?
Yep.
You got Alvarado, what you said. I want to say it's maybe one of the Clippers. Give me a second.
Trey?
Bones Highland has an ankle, and Terrence Mann, which has him day-to-day. And then Terrence Mann has an ankle, which has him ruled out for tonight's game against the Blazers.
Correct. Yeah, so most of these ankle sprains, just kind of keep an eye on them. What you want to see, we want to see them progress from either out day-to-day type of thing, but even day-to-day means they probably has a mild ankle sprain, and we just got to see how they function or as far as when they return to practice. When you see a player says, hey, he's returned to full practice, then that's a positive sign. Until that happens, whether they're limited or they're not participating in practice, that's not a good side type of thing. But like I said, ankle sprains in basketball are the number one injury by far than in any other sport. The unfortunate part is sometimes they don't categorize with the first, second, third degree, so it's kind of difficult to try to determine a timeline on that part. So it's just a matter of keeping an eye on the players as they progress. Now, the other injury that's also very common is soft tissue injuries to muscles, and one of the areas is hamstrings and calves, because both hamstring and calves are posterior chain muscles that help you kind of propel you forward to help you jump up. Now, we have a couple key players with calf issues. One of them, obviously, is Luka, that you just mentioned, is Luka Doncic. They're scheduled to play tonight in San Antonio against the Spurs. Now, he's nursing a calf injury type of thing. Now, calf injuries, unlike ankle sprains, because it's to the muscle, those take a little bit longer to heal. A mild ankle sprain calf strain can take anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks to heal. The issue with this also is that they're just like hamstring strains can be very unpredictable, meaning they can feel great, they go out there and push off, and all of a sudden they feel a little discomfort and they may aggravate it. And I believe Luka had this calf strain, if I'm not mistaken, was it last year?
Mm-hmm.
Was it during the
and
playoffs?
definitely during the FIBA Olympics? World Games this year as well.
Correct, and I think that's what kept them out for some of the games, type of thing on the part. So it's interesting. Now I know they're battling. It's still early in the season, so there's no reason to kind of rush them back or try to. Dallas Mavericks can be a little conservative, give them like a few more games to be able to kind of get healthy and be able to go on that part. Because as being your franchise player, you don't want this to linger on, or you don't want this to become a more serious injury, like a second degree or even a third degree calf strain, which then puts them out for anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks or 4 to 8 weeks, which that's a good, month to 2 months type of thing. The other gentleman that has, I think, a calf injury is I'm gonna probably destroy his name, Bojanovic. Did I say it right?
Bojan Bogdanovic. Yeah.
Okay.
Detroit. Yeah, from Detroit.
From Detroit. Yeah. So he's also nursing a calf injury, but I think he's been out for 3 weeks already with it. From my understanding, since that's what my notes are telling me, type of thing. So expect him to return a little sooner than later, but we definitely want to keep an eye on him. Now, what I mentioned also as far as hamstring injuries, because they kind of correlate with the calf, we're going to talk about Garland. He's coming back with a hamstring injury, but I think all the signs are pretty positive. From what you had mentioned is that he actually practiced or participated in shoot around this morning. Yep. So he's expected to go in and participate and play. Now, the only issue with him is you kind of be worried. Keep an eye on him because he may be limited in minutes because this is his first game back.
Yeah.
Sports medicine staff may kind of see how he's progressing, see how he's feeling, see how he's doing throughout the game, and they kind of dictate type of thing. I don't expect him to come back and have a full go and no restrictions type of thing. The other 3 players that we have on here, we're going to talk a little bit of. Actually, we have 4. Is Beal with the Phoenix Suns. He is nursing a back issue, as they call it, so it doesn't seem like it's a back injury. And when they refer to a back, is oftentimes he's probably experiencing what they refer to as muscular muscle spasms. And that's when the muscle kind of gets tight in that area, and it limits your restricts your movement, and it's very uncomfortable. So if you ever kind of, quote unquote, they say you throw your back out, so to speak, that indicates that when the muscle kind of, you did a movement that the muscle wasn't happy, and as a defense mechanism, the muscle is going to kind of restrict itself. It's going to tighten up, and it's not going to let you kind of move the way you want it, and that can become very uncomfortable. I think that's kind of what happened if you are NFL players, or I'm sorry, if you're an NFL fan and you were watching the Miami Dolphins play. Jalen Waddle had left the game with back issues. He was able to return, and oftentimes what happens is that he'll go back to the locker room. They'll put like either heat in that area. They'll try to get the muscle to come down. They'll mobilize the joint, the hip joint, and try to get that muscle more mobile and more loose. And once they do that, then you're able to move type of thing. So with the Beal, that's probably what the sports fans is trying to deal with and address on that part. The next one we're going to talk about is Oladipo with the Miami Heat.
Houston Rockets.
Oh, that's right. Oh, my bad. He's with the Houston Rockets. That's a good trade.
Yeah, he just got traded from OKC. Yep.
That's right. So Oladipo, if you guys remember, he had if I'm not mistaken, the most recent injury he had was with the Miami Dolphins last year. That's when he tore his patella tendon. Now, keep in mind, the unfortunate part for Oladipo is that this is the second time that he tears that patella tendon, because he had the same injury several years ago, I believe, when he was with OKC. If I'm not mistaken, type of thing. So, the unfortunate part about that is he was able to return, he was able to play, but because it's the second injury or the second tear to that tendon, I expect them to be super conservative with the rehab. So I don't want to say that I won't, that he may not return this year, but I wouldn't be surprised if he takes his full year to rehab, recover, and make it right before he kind of starts playing again.
And that's why he was Miami signed him for a year, let him rehab, and then it just didn't work out this last time with the Miami Heat last year.
Yeah. So we'll see what ends up with them. We're gonna move on. We're gonna talk we got I think two more players. We're going to talk about Lonzo Ball with the knee issue. Unfortunately, the unfortunate part for him is that he's had knee issues, or he's been dealing with this knee issue for almost a year or 2 years already. From my understanding, that he's already been designated as being out for this upcoming year for the 23-24 season. So don't expect him to come back. Same thing, kind of like with Oladipo, they gave Lonzo Ball the full year to be able to rehab, recover, with hopes of him returning to full activity for the 24-25 season. Now, the last player we're going to finish off with the LA Lakers is Vanderbilt. I believe my understanding is that they've categorized him with a heel issue or heel soreness. Now, the interesting part about it is that I think some of the reports were talking about that he kind of jumped, landed, or he made a movement, and he actually kind of felt a sharp pain or kind of gave up a little bit of a loud scream and kind of felt some frustration on that part. Now, they right now they're categorizing as soreness to the heel. Okay, so this tells me one of two things. Either one, he has a little bit of a bone spur that he kind of aggravated, and that's what kind of created the discomfort. The other issue sometimes is that some people were talking about there might be something simple as plantar fasciitis. Plantar fasciitis comes on and it becomes uncomfortable as you're running, but you may not feel that one-time sharp pain. Now, what can happen to the plantar fasciitis is that you can have a little bit of a micro tear where the tendon kind of releases and you feel that sharp pain in that area. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's what happened to him. Now, several years ago, people that had plantar fasciitis, this would be what they would do is that it's called a technique where they release the plantar fasciitis, where the doctors go in there and actually cut a little incision into the plantar fascia to try to kind of allow it to stretch and be able to move. I remember we had this incident with when I was with the LA Sparks. We had Shamiko Holskall that had a constant plantar fasciitis issues, and there was one specific game or practice where she kind of jumped, landed, and she felt that sharp pain, and that's what happened. Though she had a little micro tear in that plantar fasciitis, and she was out for about a week or two. You feel some soreness, some achiness, but he should be able to recover. So expect him out for maybe about another week or two, but I don't expect him out for longer than that.
Okay, and we'll finish up with this one. Steven Adams. It doesn't list what type of knee injury it is, but he obviously went through season-ending surgery for a knee. He's expected to make a full recovery ahead of next year's start of next year's campaign. Yep. What does that mean to you with already having season-ending surgery and the season hasn't even started yet? And he was out last year as well, towards the end of the season as well.
Yeah. So, I mean, right now I'm just speculating, unfortunately, Landon. I mean, it could be anything. He either had an ACL sprain, sprain to the ACL ligament that potentially, he was out last year and he was hoping that they were going to rehab it. Hopefully that was going to heal, and it just did not heal. So eventually they decided to resort to having surgically repair it. It could be something like that. The other option also oftentimes
from what it's saying for NBA.com, it says that it's sprained posterior
PCL.
Okay.
Yeah. So your knee has 4 key ligaments, but there's 2 main ones inside. You have they look like a little bit of an X, right? The ACL ligament, which is the anterior cruciate ligament that everybody hears. Everybody kind of when the knee issue tears, everybody's very familiar with the ACL. The PCL is the opposite of the ACL ligament, but they kind of crisscross right inside your knee. So probably he had the PCL issue last year where he sprained it, and he sat out, and they were probably hoping he was in rehab, or he ruptured it, and you can potentially rehab. It's not repairing your PCL is something that's not super common just compared to the ACL. So a lot of people can rehab and you can kind of still play. So I anticipate, or I'm assuming that's what he probably tried doing. He tried rehabbing it, see if it heals, see if it feels better. And I'm guessing it got to the point that, he tried coming back this season and it wasn't feeling good. He wasn't able to move, and swelling kind of kept accumulating. He had some discomfort, stuff like that. And he decided, you know what, I need to get the surgery because I'm not going to be able to play this year. So the PCL, what PCL stands for, posterior cruciate ligament, and it's basically the opposite of the ACL. And if you look in the knee, they kind of look like a little X crisscross right in there. Yeah. So. Okay. All right.
Those are the key injuries. Heading into week 1 of the start of the NBA season. I am Landon Buford. You can find me on all platforms at Landon Buford. That's X, Instagram. If you want to see some of my writing, or a lot of my writing, you can look me up at landonbuford.com. Marco, go ahead and run down your resume for him real quick.
Yeah, I'm Dr. Marco Nunes, performance athletic trainer. If you guys have any questions regarding any injuries that you might be experiencing for those weekend warriors, or you have kids that have issues or injuries and want a quick second opinion, feel free to follow me and DM me on my Instagram and Marco A. Nunez, ATC.
All right. Thank you guys for and we will don't forget, if you like what you see, to subscribe to our page. And like he said, if there's any things that you need us to answer or get clarification for, you can DM either one of us and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. And we'll catch you next week.
Sounds good. All right, Landon.